Okay guys, so I've decided to talk a little bit about Cloudflare and how to use it and what it does. So let's start with the fact that you need to get a Cloudflare account, which has a free tier as well. So you can, I already logged into my account, but anyway, let me just log out real quick here. So you can get a free account and then log in. So let me just show you the plans real quick. So they're all pro plans, you don't really need it. Just start with free. I'll explain why that's okay in a second. So I'm just going to log into my account. As you can see, I've got loads of sites here. Doesn't really matter what these sites are, but I do have them. So let's assume that I want to set up a site in Cloudflare, because Cloudflare allows for the website to be sort of, let's say that my website's in Spain, okay? But my customers are in Cyprus, which are two very different countries, which is a bit insane to sort of think about. But let's say that for some reason something happened and most of my client base, because my product's digital, is in Cyprus instead of Spain where I live, which I don't live in Spain, but I'm just saying. So I'm gonna use SiteGround, which is my preferred host, but I've no problems with any other host. I'm just going to use SiteGround as an example. So SiteGround allows me to create like fake domains like this one for development purposes, and then when I buy the domain name for it, it will sort of, change and work with that domain name. Anyway, let's initially start with what Cloudflare is. So Cloudflare is a service that basically duplicates your website and serves it from like the closest possible Cloudflare location. So as I said, my site's in Spain. This is just an example. My clients are in Cyprus. So if you don't know the world map at all, Greece is much closer to Cyprus than what Spain is, I think. I'm just making assumptions here, but as far as I remember, that's the case. So Cloudflare does have servers in Greece, for example. So if my client's actually logging on from Cyprus or from Greece or from anywhere other than Spain, it will serve the copy of my website that's on the server, in the Cloudflare Greece server, if that makes sense. So that basically means that your site will load faster, and I'll show you an example of this hopefully. So I'm just going to use an example real quick here, just to show you that there are ways to sort of gauge this. So let's see where it says speed. So presumably it said it's doing a little test, and it's telling me, although this site is currently on Cloudflare, it's doing a test to show me what the performance difference would be if it weren't on Cloudflare. I can't do it because I'm already on Cloudflare, so that's obvious. So let's do it the other way around. So I have my little fake site, and I want to add it to Cloudflare. I'm gonna steal the domain real quick, copy paste it. Let's see if it actually allows me to add this site, because I don't know that it will. So let's start by trying to add the site. I'll give it this lovely domain name that I have. I'm not allowed to because it's a subdomain, so I have to find another domain that's not on SiteGround currently. So I need to find another domain to play with. So let me see if I've got another one here. It's not letting me because that's actually a subdomain, so it's not letting me. Let's see if I have another site that I can sort of play with here. Let me check. I think I have one. I don't have a site there. This one I don't think is on Cloudflare. Let's see. So let's put this one on Cloudflare. So Claire's website, she sells a book, it's fine. Nothing's gonna happen. Oh, so it's already in Cloudflare. I must have already put it there. So let's find something else. This one, maybe? I don't think I did Cloudflare for this one. Let's see. So presumably, this one doesn't have Cloudflare. Awesome. So I've now added the domain name of that site. I select the free plan because obviously I'm not going to pay for it. It's checking my existing DNS records, which by the way it should check, and you shouldn't change these at all. Just leave them alone. And then just click continue. So now it's telling me to go and change my current name servers, which is ns1.siteground.net, ns2.siteground.net, to Logan and Nina. And obviously, because I do this a lot, I already know these name servers. So you would go to your host. In my case, it's SiteGround, but it could be anything else. It could be GoDaddy, it could be anything. And there's a way in each host to sort of change the DNS records. So I'm going to just go and change them. And of course, I already know the records because I do this a lot. So let's go. I don't think it's actually here. Is it here? Or I actually need to go outside. I need to go out of here. The thing is, I don't usually do the manual thing because SiteGround has its own integration, and I will talk about that in a second. Just give me a second here. Now that I found a domain I can play with, so let's just say I want to say website, but this time instead of going into the website, I'm gonna say domains or something. It should be in services somewhere. I'm looking for my domains. Oh, there we are. So for me to change the NS records, I've got to find let's see. So isn't it rows something or other? Maybe it's not fully loaded. Yeah. Okay. So there she is. I found her. So let's go to this button and say manage domain. As you can see, there are name servers here, which are ns1.siteground.net and ns2.siteground.net. So I'm just going to say siteground.net. I've got to remember this. So I'm just going to put this in a notepad somewhere. I already know that the second one's a 2, so that's fine. Let's close this Teams thing that came up. I pressed notepad and sort of assumed I needed Teams for some reason. Anyway, so I'm just going to click manage name service. I'm going to say ns1. I'm going to copy this to a notepad just so that I remember what it was. And of course I already know that this is ns2. So for now I'm leaving this. I already know my Cloudflare servers off the top of my head, so here goes nothing. Manage. The one is Logan, and the other one is just Nina. Okay, so that's all fine. I can confirm that. So this is how you manually set up Cloudflare in cases your host doesn't have automatic Cloudflare integration. So you go to wherever you bought your domain name from, which could be from the place you host your website, but it could be from somewhere else. For example, I can go buy my domain on GoDaddy, but host it on SiteGround instead of GoDaddy's hosting, right? So presumably now, this has changed. Let's see if it's as immediate as we think it is. So to check if the changes actually happen, you can go to what's my DNS. You can then type in your domain name. Let's see if I can actually type in the domain name properly. I think that's what it's called. So you can see Oh, am I using the wrong? Am I thinking about the wrong domain then? Uh, oh crap! I changed the wrong domain. That's a bit sad. Okay, sorry. So let's just change that real quick. Change that back real quickly. I think the domain I was supposed to change was, what was it? Which domain am I looking at? Get Married Cyprus. I changed the wrong domain. How fantastic of me. You shouldn't be changing domain records unless you know what you're doing. So, I mean, a client could be fussing about this if they were worried about what's going on with their domain, but I know this client and they won't have an issue. So let's start with the domain thing again. Okay. This time I need to go find the get married one. Get married. I need to load more sites so we get things going here. Here we go. I didn't check if I could see it already, but okay. I'm thinking I should be able to get it now. So let's go to manage for this one. And so again, it's NS1 whatever. So now all I do is I say Nina. Do I have it in my buffer maybe? No. Maybe. I have it in my notepad. So let's take one, Logan, and then Nina after that. So let's just do Logan and then we can do Nina for a second. Not really rocket science here, so you may have to wait 24 to 48 hours depending on how fast this works, but generally speaking, if you're on a host that's sort of Google hosted, it's much faster. Might take an hour maybe. Sometimes it's even less. Like I've seen this happen even less. But the consensus is it's 24 to 48 hours. But I'm just gonna do the same check I did before to see that the changes are actually happening. Now that I'm on the right domain for that. Let's see. Okay, I can just go back here and say check name service because presumably I've made the change. It gives me some settings I can go through. I'll show you what I always do. Automatically HTTPS, so it's always secure. Cloudflare does give you a free SSL certificate in case you need one and your host doesn't provide Let's Encrypt or something free. I want to say always use HTTPS, that's fine. I don't want it to minify anything because caching can cause issues. I want Portly or whatever they call that technology theirs. It just speeds up your site and you click finish. So I'm going to say check name servers. It's going to check. And at some point when you log into your dashboard of Cloudflare, that message will disappear and it will say, well, wow, it's now your site's now on Cloudflare or whatever. Let's do a little speed test to make sure how fast my new site is going to be if it comes to Cloudflare. So I just clicked on speed there. Let's just wait for it for a second. And I'll show you exactly what happens. Let it measure what needs to measure for a second there. Give it some time to do its test while we wait for the DNS anyway. So I'm gonna say it seems to have sort of already started, not in all countries, but it seems fine. Like you can tell it's not done in China and stuff, but it is done in other places already, which is a good thing. So we will wait a little bit. We can come back to this. I can check that the servers are alright once again. So this takes a while. There we are. You see, and then you get this email that says, if I just go into my email, it says that Get Married Cyprus has now been added to Cloudflare, free plan, whatever, right? So it actually gives me my old Dns Records and my new ones, which is fine. So now this means that this site is now loading off the closest possible server. Now what you can do is you can, again, I'll see if the test is loaded. If it's not, then fine. But it says that my site will be 1.5 seconds faster on Cloudflare or 22% faster than it was before I put on Cloudflare. Now, you can do your own kind of measurements. I just use this as a sort of reference. And then you can go into caching rules and you can sort of start caching stuff. Now, the easiest cache rule there is, or page rule there is, on the free plan you're allowed like 3 rules. So I'll create a page rule and I'll just say, you know what, I'm going to steal it because, yeah. So it does immediately say, you know what, do this /star, which basically means everything. So everything under that URL, whether it's the home page or any other page. You can say cache level, cache everything, or cache, whatever you want to call it. And then you say save and deploy. And that's done. And that will cache everything. At some point, after like 24 hours, you'll be able to see analytics about how fast your site is, how many requests have been handled by Cloudflare. Now, Cloudflare doesn't only offer a copy of your website, it does offer types of protection like DDoS attacks, like many people trying to visit your site at the same time, causing service interruption stuff. So it does loads and loads of stuff that people don't actually know about in terms of like security or making your email sort of obfuscated so that bots can't scrape it off your website and stuff like that. But the basic idea is that Cloudflare will cache your site in the sense that it will make copies and give me the closest copy so that I get to my site faster than if I was not on Cloudflare. So it only caches HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It's not an image CDN, so it doesn't serve your images off CDN, off Cloudflare. But it does keep caching them so they aren't loaded every time you request them. So again, your site will inherently be faster than it was before. So that's the manual way of doing it, and we've done that, that's fine. Now I'm going to go back, and I'm going to actually change back my name servers. So I'm going to change it back right now. Luckily it still has them in memory, so I don't have to retype. Yay. So now that I've changed them back, right, I can also take the website off of Cloudflare, which is another thing I would show you quite easily. Remove site from Cloudflare, goodbye. Okay. There we are. So I've now removed it, and I should get an email saying that it's been removed. Let's see. Yep, so the zone has been deleted, it says almost immediately. And if I do the little test that I did before with the Dns Records to check if the change is happening, actually it will start happening. It's already started in the US, not in Kansas yet, but in Dallas, yes, and stuff like that. So I'll have to wait a bit, but the NS is sort of switching. So give it a second. But there's another way to do this in hosts that provide integrated support. So if I go to my site tools here, I can do the integration automatically with SiteGround because they provide it for me. all I have to do is log into my existing account. So all I say is set up, and then I connect my existing account. Obviously, I know my codes because I use them quite a lot here, and then automatically it sort of gets me ready for Cloudflare, and I can say activate the free, because you can subscribe for premium, but I want the free version, just like I did when I did it manually. And what that does is it will put this website on Cloudflare for me. It says that Cloudflare has been activated. Now in SiteGrounds there's specific options that you need to take care of, which is this sort of SSL support should actually be full strict, because SSL is provided by Let's Encrypt and by SiteGrounds, so they have to be full strict. On other hosting it might be different, but here where it says that the CNAME needs to be added is just a temporary thing. It will be fixed within 24 hours by SiteGround. This is just a DNS change. For now, I'm actually going to deactivate it because I don't really need Cloudflare. But what I wanted to show you is that in some cases there is automatic integration with your host, like in this case SiteGround. Kinsta has automated Cloudflare. They do that automatically as soon as you create a domain. You don't even have to connect an account, as far as I remember. It's just there. But also remember that if you already have a domain on Cloudflare and some kind of provider like Kinsta or SiteGround provides Cloudflare integration, you actually need to remove it from Cloudflare, the manual one that you installed, like I did. Like I did a manual one first, then I removed it, and then I did the automatic one. You always have to remove it. You can't have a previous Cloudflare connection and try and do like an integrated connection or even a manual one. You have to remove the previous instance from Cloudflare first. So that is all I wanted to show you for today. That's what Cloudflare does. And remember, what Cloudflare does is it serves your site from any server that's closest to the person looking at the website, your visitor, instead of the country your website's in. So if your country is in the US and I'm visiting your website and I'm in Cyprus, then having Cloudflare would actually make the site seem faster for me, even though literally it's on the other side of the world for me, essentially, right? So that's why you should use Cloudflare. And I also think that having Cloudflare is actually good, because if you do make DNS record changes at the Cloudflare level, they'll be picked up immediately, as where if you do them manually, you'll have to wait 24 to 48 hours for that. So always good stuff.